Back, you cheeky little monkeys, to the second game today. Basically, we've got 4 matches lined up. We've already seen one, and we have 4 matches to decide who is coming back into season 2 of the TCS eSports League. It is all hype, it is all excitement, and of course, it is all Digital Bacon and Jar Jam beside me. How you doing there, Jam? How do you think that first game played out for us?
It almost came to a little bit of a surprise. I've been expecting Silent Gaming to win this squarely 3-0. You have been believing in bench players, and they almost show why you should believe in them. A lot of potential, but they couldn't realize that in time that it has been given to them. Only maximum 5 games. Unfortunately, they lost 3 of them, so that means they're out until the next season. But it's been at least of a promising performance. They have defeated a couple of teams on the way to the whole qualification tournament. So it still instills hope in them. They just didn't barely get there. They still work hard for that one. Next our game, though, is slightly different. It is a different seed, both from the first season of TCS Esports League and, of course, in the qualification tournament. It's Whiffmasters versus Different Esports. And actually, I have a lot of trust in Different Esports. They have, in last week, they have won against every single team besides the top 2. So Denied Perennia and the Swiss Monsters beat Different Esports, but then Different Esports beat Bench Players, Bench Colada, and Lostic, proving that I really should be in that number 3 spot in the little round robin that has been going.
Yeah, so I was just looking over the league table from last week. Yeah, it was a very small league, 6 teams, but the only 2 teams that beat the Swiss Monsters was Bench Players and Deny Perina, and the only 2 teams to beat Different Esports was Deny Perina and Swiss Monsters. So things are sort of working out the way they should do from now on. Bench Players, we can obviously see that they had some skill. So the teams to beat them, we're sort of looking at now going, okay, we know what caliber they're at. These teams have to be better. Definitely Deny Perina are the hot favorites to go through today, especially when Helvets were sort of like having a bit of a lackluster end to their season. We haven't seen them, admittedly, for about 2 weeks, so Helvets could have a lot of time to recuperate later on today. But here, looking at this one, Whiffmasters versus Different Esports. Whiffmasters were always an up and down team. It depended on the day, didn't it? They could have taken down some of the strongest teams in the league on one day and then lost to one of the weakest teams another day. They are a wild card in this league, and they're still a wild card coming into this game.
Yeah, they have their performance has been indeed up and down. They won against Silent Gaming. They got through a couple of wins against Helvets. But unfortunately, that's pretty much was all that they could do. And as a result, their position in the league was pretty low. Yes, higher than Monk and Helvets, who we'll be seeing later on in the day. But it still hasn't been such an inspiring performance that we should have expected. They actually, at some point, lost to Monks. But a couple of the wins that they got were still, most of them, with the exception of Silent Gaming, were all against the lower seeded teams, lower Monk and Helvets. And as a result, we really didn't see any good performance from Whiffmasters against the top teams. Different Esport, well, there might be either one of those top teams or the same caliber as Helvets or Monk, or roughly the same as Whiffmasters. So if Whiffmasters come at their strongest here and Different Esports are coming in also ready to take on their opponents in blue, then this might be a pretty exciting, not a 3-0 sweep. I don't think this will be going the 3-0 way. This might go all the way to 5 games make.
Yeah, so Different Esports, they qualified in week number 4, and we're expecting them, because things have sort of like flipped around, and which week they qualified doesn't really matter. So we're expecting them to put on a good show here, and this is definitely one which could go either way. We're going to have Whiffmasters in the blue, and that leaves Different Esports, the orange side, already getting underway, these 2 teams. And there's been a little bit of a hectic, uncontrolled start. Don't hold that against either side, but Whiffmasters, they have got the ball down their opponent's end, and they are looking to hold that midfield.
Different Esports having to use 2 players to bring the ball out of their own half, as Seiko couldn't find the control of it and was stuck with it. Whiffmasters weren't attacking, and oh goodness, we suddenly have Wizard magically teleporting himself out of the match. We'll have to figure out a ruling on this one, as Themo has Themo not played during the last week? Does he not know that the camera shake is pretty prevalent in the game after the patch? It has been. So this game will be restarted, as we'll try to get Whiffmasters different esports in an area or in a stadium that supposedly doesn't go explodey every single time.
Yeah, it was a bit of an odd one, but yeah, it's unfortunate. There's a couple of bugs now with Rocket League, so we're going to get that new server set on up. I don't think it's going to change anything though. And these lads, um, that's worrying for me actually, Jam, because it was since Thursday that this bug has been in the game. So to me, that feels like they haven't done any scrimming, any private matches, or anything like that for the last few days, and that is giving me a little bit of worry.
Yeah, that should. It's if you don't know that this has been happening, and all of a sudden this throws off your game completely to the point of, hey, we need to immediately quit. Then yes, it's a big trouble. Also for Whiffmasters, they are playing today without their top goal scorer Mako. So as a result, their offense might be a little bit worse off than usual.
Mm.
As for different esports, I'm looking forward to what Dolmetio Akai and Sai can do. Haven't seen them last week, unfortunately, but this will be my first introduction to the different side of esports as they were playing in the orange and trying to show why they deserve to be in the TCS Esports League next season.
Yep. So we're just going to join on back into the lobby as that is remade up for us. Just quickly hopping back in there right now. It says joining. I'm not going to give out the room code in case someone randomly DDoSes that because
This is not
that is
Jackbox Party
actually,
Pack, yeah.
yeah, that is a thing that can happen, guys. And I don't get why you would DDoS and all that, but hey, let's just get on with this. Monkey.
With this. Yep, no
Sorry,
reaction. No reaction
no,
for
I
Bacon.
was just letting the players know that they can go, and it was with a little inside joke. That's why it took a little bit too long to.
Oh yeah, because you typed up a whole novel over there in the
Yeah.
chat. They just can't understand why there's all buts, and buts. One way or the other, it's another 5 games maximum, another best of 5 right here with Masters in different esports. And now for reals. The first one was just a little bit of a practice one, but different
It's a
esports,
tease.
even this one, just a tiny itsy bitsy bit. But I have to say, different esports really know how to start pressuring their opponents. Whiffmasters couldn't exactly find, a demolition does find an open net. And even with Elmisha rushing to save his teammate, he couldn't do anything over there. Yeah, Kaya, bam, out of there, kaboom, all done.
I love that. You're like, different esports now to pressure opponents, and then suddenly comes on in fresh, just like, I'll show you how to pressure the opponents. Slaps away, just absolutely demos, and there you have it. The first goal going in favor to the Whiffmasters, of course, the favored team. Different esports, you got to cause the upset now, buddies. You can definitely see a lot of boost being used by the side in blue as they're trying to get those demos, trying to take control of that boost, and of course, take control of the field.
After that first initial bout of control from different esports, it is coming back into Whiffmasters' hands. Oh, and that's an unfortunate own goal. Akaya once again in the back where the save needs to be made. This time without a demolition, but a little bit of a shameful and not so good attempt at a clear. It's a tough one, really, in that situation. The difference of inches and a couple of angles decide where it goes outside or in. Fortunately, this time it went in.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. You're gonna have to pick that up. Good hit from Fresh over to the corner as that ball will linger about, and he gets straight onto it using the last of his boost. So he'll be lingering as he goes back to net. There was a boost in front of him, so it's interesting how we can see the mindset of the Whiffmasters here, where they're allowing the players that are rotating forward to take the midfield boosts here, Jam.
It is a different approach, and we've seen a different, again, the display speed, even in the previous game, and here as well. It's what I think differentiates Whiffmasters and different esports, the challenges from the challenge. No, that sounds awfully wrong. But it is a difference in class, and as much as I would like to think that all of the teams in Switzerland are absolutely even in their skill, no, they're still the Whiffmasters, and they're still different esports. as different esports are right by this point even struggling to bring the ball over the mid line. There's an opportunity. Akai now finally with a chance to redeem, and that redemption comes in pretty darn strong.
Yeah, good goal there from Akaya. Dolometio lines that up perfectly. That block though, damn. So
Yeah, and for Akaya was staying upfield, still looking, I think, for a boost, but that search for a boost ended up with a great opportunity. Strong pass from Dolometia from the orange side straight where Akaya was already waiting, and even the combined efforts of all three Whiffmaster defenders trying to block that shot couldn't do much. Different esports get on the board themselves, and we're in a pretty good fashion. Now they need to find a second one, and seemingly, finally, they're out of their own half for good and trying to keep the ball in the blue side.
what happens here, Wizzy? Not unfortunately able to get onto that fresh. Gentle little touch actually mixes up the game plan. It's very good for it. Timo getting a good 50-50. Dolometio puts that up into the air. Awkward affair, awkward times at different esports now, as they don't really have an answer to the Whiffmasters and don't know how to get the ball downfield, do they, Jan?
Well, they almost solved that puzzle once they got the ball out, and then the control was for a while in their hands. But seemingly, like when they come to the defense, it's often the same situation. They are 50-50s, just like the bench players were doing previously against their opponents. But the ball just does not go any further than that. And instead of a strong clear and a strong start to an attack, is just let's hope we can dump it to the other side of the field and maybe something like that.
Fresh. Popping the ball downfield. Dolometio gets onto it so well to hold the midfield line. And it's just the start of some good pressure coming out. Little fake jump out, but unfortunately for different esports, Whiffmasters were ready for it. They had the mans lined up. Different esports can't say the same though on their side of the pitch.
No lineup for them at all, as Sekou tries to keep the ball in the blue side, and everyone from different esports swinging so wide to get the mid boost. Yes, their boost tanks might be full, but nobody in the net, as Whiffmasters fresh, I believe that was, had all the time to put the ball down midfield, and even if it wasn't a strong shot, it was just enough for the fleeting different esports defense.
Ball out to middle, good connection with Akea, but the defense holds strong. Again, being able to get final touch from different esports. We're starting to see the caliber between the Season 1 attendees and the Challenger Cup champions. Go off the backboard. Good hit from Secure. We'll give him that. Good follow-up onto the boost. He's just got to keep this with his control. He's got Kaya below and it's trying to look, but unfortunately, angle not found and the reception not found either.
It is just not clicking enough for different esports. They are trying to get over there. They're out shooting. Oh, right now they're not only out shooting, but also getting some goals on the board for them. One more remaining for them to tap the game as the passing plays finally works out. You can see Wizard so deep into the net, while as Fresh suddenly was caught in between the rock and a hard place midway, no man's land. He can challenge that, and Wizard is still waiting for his team. He's still looking for Fresh to make the initial challenge. By the point Bolt went straight off Akaya into the net, it was already too late.
Yeah, and it all comes down from different. Oh, try to keep my mouth closed just for that. All because different sort of lined up these little wider angles that are so much harder to defend from. If you hit the ball just directly to the sides of the net or directly above, like let it linger and drop down, then it's easier to read for the defenders, easier to save. Put a little bit off angle. If you're reading it right yourself as an attacker, which is easier, you can follow onto it and get into the net a lot easier than your opponents. Different esports have got all the makings here to challenge Whiffmasters. 3-2 is still a very close scoreline. Just Whiffmasters are using their veterancy, using that team knowledge they have of each other, you know, the chemistry that they have to be able to just etch out the win here.
Yeah, they got exactly that. And I don't want to say barely, but Whiffmasters, 100% realization on their shots. 3 shots, 3 goals. It could come in question in later games if they can get attack going. If all they can do is, well, if they can do that, fantastic. But if all of a sudden the shot attempts will dry out, so will the goals. as different esports were putting on so many more shots on target. But the combined efforts of Wizard and Fresh did keep the net of Whiffmasters as clean as possible. Really, the whole team is playing a pretty even game of defense. Everyone's getting their equal chances on those saves, and together they have been pretty rounded up when it came to saves per game.
Yeah, I can see that. Different esports are being allowed to play their pressure game as much as they like. And the opposite side of the pitch, Whiffmasters, they're not focusing on pressure at all. They just want to hold the midfield line and then just wait for a couple golden opportunities. It is a very clean tactical game. Unfortunately, Timo not going to be able to get the opening goal. Ball laid out across, but a good block coming out from the different esports side onto the Whiffmasters. Look at that scoreboard quickly. Already 4 shots registered from Whiffmasters. They've already outdone the first game within 20 seconds.
Overachievers, I have to say. That is just trying to pad the stats so quickly the moment we said about that. But it was a great attack after all. Whiffmasters driving the control straight off the kickoff, and they're not, most likely won't be content with just controlling the midfield. They would like to go a step forward and also control the final third of different esports. For that, I think the rotations will need to come. Oh my goodness, that was not intentional, but that could have been so beautiful.
Could have, would have, but didn't. Yeah, I did miss the should have. Like, should have is always a weird thing to say because, like, it's got to be a little bit more favoritism than anything else to the Whiffmasters. And I'm trying to be unbiased in this one.
Of course.
The only thing I favor is the viewers at home because we just want the best game that we can possibly have. And this one is starting to shape up to be wonderful to watch. Fresh, good clearance downfield. Seku trying to get an awkward hit, but unfortunately, the only thing that's made awkward is the defense, and Fresh gets the goal.
Well, here finally the passes are coming in straight to the clean shots. And Delmisha, not the first time he has missed quite a simple shot, just a little bit not so confident in the control of his own car.
Jam going Robo again.
Have can play base on the field.
I love it when Jam goes Robo, because it almost sounds like Daft Punk are trying to set up a new trap or something. Timo up into the air, off the wall it'll go, and this is met by Dolometio. Seku, get the pinch, no, he tried it, but a little bit wide off. Timo picks it up. Oh, he's got this beautiful setup going, finds Seku. I thought he was going to get fresh in that one, Jam. And this has been the perfect counter-attack coming out from different esports, but...
As perfect as it goes.
Man, Wizzy, I don't know why he just jumped across like that. He had no patience, young one.
And he should get some patience. Really, the Whiffmaster should have gotten a little bit more patience and control of that play. Otherwise, all of a sudden, despite the ball being in their own half, the defense of Whiffmasters disappeared. Themo was the only player really able to challenge that ball, and even Themo went sideways from that ball, which only gave the Akai a perfect opportunity to put it straight into the net from an awkward angle. Put it straight into the net as well. There's Dolo. Oh, almost gets an upside-down attempt. Different esports are seeing that Whiffmasters, apparently they had an upswing in the previous game. Right now, seemingly pretty strong on a downswing.
1-1. I'm just going to be going, right, we've got 2 minutes left. Let's just see how this one plays out. Different esports are being pushed very hard in that defense, but this is a great little breakaway. Siku, unfortunately, can't finish it off. Akeya and Timo both going out for the block. That's always interesting to see when it's not a whiff per se. They were just expecting their opponents to go for the hit first. It's a little bit like a misread of the situation, Jam.
Yeah, well, a lot of plays in the high level of play needs to be read, needs to be pre-jumped, needs to be guessed, and you need to expect your opponents to do one of these things. But also, after you misguess or misread the play, then you also need the sound mind to actually react to that and expect that as well. So just expect everything all at the same time. That's why Rocket League is always 5 minutes of nerves, even for us casters.
Yeah, you've got to expect the unexpected. Siku Definitely expected Timo there and got the 50-50 block, but unfortunately, Whiffmasters were ready with a second man, and oh, that is unexpected. The post denies it, but Wizzy saw that coming, and there is your expected goal.
Unfortunately for Akai's angle, it has been a little bit too awkward, and I'm not sure if Dolomicio had a better attempt at it. But the moment Akai popped it straight up, Dolomicio was also taken out of the play, which only allowed Whiffmasters an easy setup, as if they set it up themselves in front of the net to put it slightly from a sky, slightly down into the net.
Siku clearing out. Wizzy not reading well enough, and Siku zero boost, had to try to get a little bit bumped off. Dolomicio comes out very far. Wizzy off to the midfield. The attempt's just broken on down, but control still remains with Whiffmasters fresh. Might just hit that a little bit too far, and Siku can clear that down the width of the pitch and will chase after it. Wizzy does get control of the ball, but Dolomicio, fantastic 50-50 to send that down into the Whiffmaster corner.
I like that you are calling him Dolomicio as if he's slightly Roman, Italian. Maybe that's how you pronounce it, actually, not making fun of that for no reason.
It sounds better than
Dolomicio. We'll have to ask later. Dolomicio.
It does make me think of like the Italian Swiss region. Maybe that's where he's from, you know?
Oh, absolutely, right. Yeah, Switzerland is really right there in the middle of so many great countries, and also a great country itself. And also, speaking of great, 0 seconds, Siku almost made it look like we are not going into the overtime, but no, we actually are, as he finds one, as Whiffmasters once again leave it for too long.
We just said earlier, you got to expect the unexpected, and Whiffmasters weren't expecting the 0-second goal. They'll pay the price of Dolomicio. Seriously, if there's like, you know, a pasta sauce or something like that with Dolomicio at a supermarket, I could see that happening. I'm just saying, oh boy, oh boy. That pasta sauce, because damn fresh, receiving a great pass from Timo, but that block. Hasty.
Yeah, just like his sub banner, he is fresher than the pasta that is Dolomicio. He drops it straight down, and oh my god, this has all the signs of a game 5 effort from both our teams. It's just that the Whiffmasters, once again, this time, if the game number 1, they almost gave away that lead that they had. Here, it has been a hard-fought effort, and they've, in many ways, outskilled different esports, but different esports, they had so much in them. Even if the series ends up 3-0, I'm still believe that different esports really showed it strong to Whiffmasters. They can play pretty much at the same level. It's just that in this one, perhaps, they weren't able to do as much. Anyway, game number 3. Do not count my chickens before they hatch, and for different esports, there's still one more chance, at the very least, remaining to bring it back into action. And they started the game number 2 strong. So for Whiffmasters, they need to keep that in the back of their mind. Their opponent has been getting better, and they need to prepare for that as well.
The thing is, I do think they have been preparing, because, you know, they've just been etching it out. It was that 0-second goal from Siku there last time that just sent them into the overtime, and then Whiffmasters always have the option. They always do just the right amount to stay afloat. Different esports trying to set off the pressure early on, but it's a comfortable sort for Wizzy and Co. I'm just going to say, where they're able to deal with it, they're setting up the second man perfectly behind to pick up those 50-50s. And they're just waiting for an opening to strike jam. They're like a viper. They're coiled up and ready to lunge.
I think that's a perfect approach to the game, and with the way that sometimes can mix it up just a little bit. You've seen Timo not going hard for those 50-50s, allowing the opponent to come at him and then most likely win that 50-50 as one goes wildly, or at least not in favor of different esports. So for Whiffmasters, it's a good tactical and skillful approach to the play, as different esports, well, there's still a couple of questions here and there. Oh, and oh my god, Akai needed to take control of the car, otherwise that could have been a pinball shot of his car straight into the ball.
Oh. That's it, we found out what kind of wizard he is. He is a pinball wizard, it seems. Fresh though keeps serving up these fresh hot shots, and I can tell you the goals, delicious.
Hot shots. Oh, and there's Themo. Well, Themo was the server. Fresh was the cook. As last defender from different esports has just been bumped out of the way, and Seeker couldn't even get a touch on it, with the rest of Whiffmasters going into the attack. Fresh, an easy one for him, serving them every single day of the week. I think it's Sub. Oh, wow. That's Dilamisho straight off the post now. But I think it's Subway whose slogan is Eat Fresh, right? Well, Fresh is currently doing exactly.
We were talking about hot shots earlier. Have you actually ever seen the hot shot film?
Actually, I don't think I have. No.
Oh, dude, I recommend. Look them up.
List.
Add them to the list. They are so funny. Brilliant. It's got like so many great 80s like comedians and that in it. Just go look it up. Okay, it's like a Mickey take of Rambo and all that. Right, so Kaya on the ball. Good control, little pop. Oh, that one wasn't though. You could see what he's trying to do, and it don't matter. This is a special twist on that recipe, it seems.
Oh, and it's a little. There's a twist and a half. Even was trying to save it. Seku, I think he should be thankful he actually got it through. Most times than not, in that situation, he just exaggerates the issue as he jumps into the pile of cars and sends the ball somewhere. But this time, though, he had the clear path straight on the net where Fresh was waiting. But the angle was a little bit too awkward for him, and he couldn't bring the job to a conclusion. The different esports getting themselves a goal, showing that, hey, we're still fighting for this one. We might be 2 games down. We still want this just as much as you do with Whiffmasters.
Seku can take the boost, prioritizing that over the ball. Doesn't look like it'll hurt them. Remember, they're just trying to hold this midfield line. They're just looking to set up the foundations and then strike. The foundations are set. Ball bouncing off that backboard, but unfortunately bouncing it off the ground is not the option. Interesting hit from Seku to try and make this a little bit more disruptive. Kaya and Timo both looking for the same route out. Maybe not that high from Kaya, but Timo definitely likes it as the ball's cleared all the way downfield. Wizzy to the corner. We'll have to get a block in, unfortunately not found. Error 404, block not found. Just got to go find it somewhere as Timo's trying to get this ball downfield. There's the block, we finally found it. Nearly a goal, but the defense can react just in time.
Oh, but barely. Seku actually went away from that goal, which required a Kaya to be called in and make that awkward save that almost set up Whiffmasters themselves. Whiffmasters didn't expect that, as different esports used all their time and a little bit of extra time from the bench to make that save. A little bit careful. The whole game seemingly teetering on the edge of one team just going a little bit too hard, and Dilamisha find himself a chance right off that. Whiffmasters getting themselves confused this time in the defense as just a little bit of a chip, but a great alley from Sequel straight to Dilamisha.
Yep, Dilamisha, the 5th Ninja Turtle, was able to slash that one down into the net and get the second goal for different esports as they are now on a warpath. They've got to be, as this is match point for the Whiffmasters. A reverse sweep once again needed for the Challenger Cup qualifiees. It is a super hard job. Ball towards center. Wizzy not going to be able to kill that, but you know who can. It's Timo.
There he is, comes in strong, waiting for the second opportunity. Fresh and Themo themselves just all on the sides of the field, waiting for any bounces going their way. And Themo senses that his is going his, and that has gone his way completely. Different esports, again, a little bit passive, all 3 players in the defense, but not reacting quickly to the shot. And as that went off the backboard, nobody went in to challenge it fast enough. This team was definitely a little bit supersonic over here, bringing Whiffmasters to another tie. This is still as close as ever. This is the situation of the previous game. Will we see an overtime? Might as well.
Off the backboard, the line is there. Seku, unfortunately, a little bit too high. Big clearance from Timo will buy a lot of time as he will look to just hound this down, get his 2 teammates to follow up and take that midfield. Let's see this play come to fruition as Fresh knocks that towards the center. Seku going to be the first onto it, but hit down center will find Timo. Seku putting on some good pressure continuously though. He has been very impressive. I don't know exactly the rules here coming from. Don't know the rules of physics as well apparently with this slow bouncer.
It's on the Whiffmasters, Fresh and Timo both committing on the same air ball. Just keep one on the ground, folks. A different esports, even with an awkward angle, they had all the time in the world because Whiffmasters put themselves out of contention. They themselves put themselves in a situation where they have been on the match point, but that win eluded them after a couple of mistakes in their defense and different esports being able to react. We are still going with the same scoreline as in the previous games, only in the favor of a different team. And for different esports, this could be the breaking point, as games being as close as they've been so far can continue being as close, but now in a different team's favor, of course, the different esports team.
I don't think any one of us was expecting that very last second goal. Like twice in a row from different esports, from Siku nonetheless. Props off to the lad. He keeps working right to the final second and then in overtime as well. With Masters, they're just losing that little bit of edge over different esports, as different esports have been grown. They have been developing this Dolomitzio source.
Yes, Dolmetio, the fifth Ninja Turtle, as you said, the unknown Renaissance painter, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he's an abstract kind of painter. You know, you wouldn't know him or anything.
Oh yes, it's one of those artists who paints with pasta and pasta sauce. Just throws them on an easel and whatever happens, then
we call it spaghetti art.
Oh yes, the
all squiggly lines. I'll show you sometime.
Of course, please do.
Ball into the center here in game number 4. Different esports need to set the tone and send us to game number 5. Or if you're on the opposite end of the pitch, you're just going to try and cut it out now. It's better rather sooner than later. With Masters, with Wizzy at the helm. Looking to get his ball downfield, but not really ready, and that was a good block coming out, being able to set up a lot of pressure, but Wizzy once again popping this forward. Timo onto it, tried to bump out the last man defender, and then just let the ball drop into the net beautifully.
But look at how careful the play now started from both of the teams. After the switch in the series, this wasn't
Don't give a damn about your carefulness.
No, nobody's playing careful. It's Whiffmasters finding their first one, as different esports' challenges one after the other just come a tad short. Wizard, though, the perfect read. The only place he could have been, and he slotted himself into that spot perfect.
I love it when even our own broadcaster goes, wait, what's going on with the numbers here? Like, with the recent update, you get 2 points every second, like per second for a ball touch. I don't know why they changed up the system jam, but they also got rid of the MVP bonus, which I find really weird as well. And I'm still trying to get over that loss. Ball into the center, but no one there to pick it up. It's a little bit odd for the Whiffmasters. Fresh going straight for net isn't though, and it's always super threatening as Wizzy puts that above as well. Siku, good clearance away, but look how Fresh is just positioned for it. Timo as well being told to come in onto it. The chemistry from Whiffmasters is picking up once again, and it's doing very good in attack.
Well, but it's a swing, and seemingly sometimes for Whiffmasters that swing goes back and forth in the span of one game. And you never know which Whiffmasters will be touching the ball the next season. Next second rather. Is it the strong Whiffmasters side that already won 2 games, or will it be that a little bit of confused Whiffmasters side that suddenly doesn't know what to do with the ball in the center? It remains to be seen. For different esports, they need to prove that that one game that they've got of Whiffmasters wasn't a fluke, that they can indeed continue that one. For that, they have slightly less than 3 minutes. And all the tricks up their sleeves need to be shown up right now.
Timo working his way around the corner and with no pressure. He did finally have pressure, but I was expecting him to do better than that. To be honest, he just limbered his way upfield. Wizzy, good maneuver to get that around, and this is a tricky hit to save. Brilliant play from Fresh to just tuck that to bed.
He was coming a little bit short for Dolmetio. Not enough boost to get themselves up there, and perhaps even with that one, that would have been a close call. Great attempt, but it goes straight into the head of Fresh, who was already waiting. This time, Whiffmasters playing high up enough to get themselves an opportunity at a mishap in defense from different esports. Now different esports with a 2-goal little ladder, I'd say, not a mountain just yet, but just a tiny ladder to climb a hill. That has done so before, but they would like a little bit more time to do that. 2 times 60 seconds. Caster math. Horrible. As they will have to bring this one and then the next one again to bring themselves into the next season.
There you go. I think every single goal that the Whiffmasters score here makes life a little bit harder for different esports. And how about making it even harder now? Wizzy scores his second game and sends his points onto a blazing 420. 2 shots, 2 goals. The conversion ratio of Whiffmasters today, Jam, has been insane.
Yeah, they have already done a fantastic job in game number 1. Right here, they've reducing the amount of shots. They're definitely not reducing the amount of goals. They are going in strong, and different esports seemingly oh so late to all their defensive challenges that they're doing. And just not, I am cursed, Bacon. Today, I'm absolutely cursed. Start saying that the team is performing badly, and all of a sudden, different esports pull off another fantastic pass. Previously, it was a Kaya waiting up front. Now, this time, it's Siku. But that shot, that was the best thing, seemingly, the different esport has done today by miles.
Cherry picker moments like that, Jam, can really turn the tides of a game. Sending that player forward and just creating an opening, creating an option straight from the defense is fantastic. Of course, it makes that defense a little bit weaker by not having 3 players that can rotate around the goal. But the counter-attack, oh, that is made so much stronger. This is the problem with the defense. We saw it already downfield and no one back to rotate into that. Ooh.
Well, we're back from the wonderful cherry picking in the attack to back on the defense for different esports, which once again, it was another miss on the wall. This time it was Siku, just off fresh of scoring a goal to give different esports just a little bit of hope. Instead, unfortunately, he drops the ball or allows the ball to drop straight in the waiting hands of who else but Fresh. And even if this goal will come in, oh, and Fresh puts it in the waiting hands of his own goalkeeper. Just to add a little bit of an extra confusion as nobody from Whiffmasters can quickly clear that ball through. Oh, that is the epitome of the worst place and worst time.
Yeah, it's a fresh idea, but I don't think it's really going to stick, Jam, that one. Own goals, don't really want them happening about, but it does give an opening, gives an opportunity to different esports. There's now 45 seconds to get 2 goals. It is possible. I'm expecting them now, Jam, to just go all-out attack. They've got to stay alive in this. They've got to get goals. Yes,
there's the one. Well, if Siku is the man to do this buyout, he will do it. Dolomitio, look at that, already waiting for any of the rebounds. He doesn't even need a rebound. Just like that, the difference between the Whiffmasters and different esports has been diminished to just 1 goal. And if that all-out attack will come in strong right now, this week, but Dolomitio, though, they right now all need all the boost, all the time spent in the blue half in different esports will be able to do this. But the timer is tick, tick, attack.
That brought up the walls, brought up the doors, because the horde outside those different esports is coming. It's on the attack. Dolomitio looking for the pass into the center. A little bit too tricky to get. Unfortunately, not going to be found. This ball has to stay up now. As soon as it hits the ground, that is it. Whiffmasters denied a 5th, but it will be Whiffmasters following their Season 1 rivals in Silent Gaming through into Season 2 as they take down different esports in a 3-1 game as well.
I think the score line for every single game shows how close of an affair that was. And just like in the previous series, the contender won one of the games, and it was game number 3, coincidentally, but then the real champions got themselves back into the action. But this has been so close. Different esports, especially coming in strong with the cherry-picking moments, the individual plays just like Siku did in the end, and really using the opportunities when Whiffmasters suddenly started whiffing. Not in the attack, where it's forgivable, but in the defense, with it's completely completely the wrong thing to do. They know where to pounce. Unfortunately, Whiffmasters got the wind of different esports mistakes as well, and they have managed to use them slightly better than that. Just in this game alone, different esports missed twice of an easy clear off the back wall, which allowed Whiffmasters to bring that potential 3-2 in favor of different esports into a 4-3 in their favor.
So that is 2 series down with 2 teams returning for Season 2 of the TCS Esports League. Silent Gaming and Whiffmasters, the 2 top seed, expectedly staying up, Jam. I'm just going to say that's how it is. It's these next 2 matches where things could change. Next on stream is going to be Monks versus the Swiss Monsters. Don't go anywhere. This has been TCS Esports League, and we'll be back to you after this break.